All right, we live, baby. You are now watching Juke Boys Sports Show. I'm your host, King Ralph, here with my homie and my co-host, the homie Kai. What's happening, Brody?
What's good? I'm back in effect.
Man,
Don DeMarco.
time for a haircut or a lineup or edge up, something.
Hey, bro, I need to cut everything, man. Cut it all off, bro. So
gotta get right for the summer.
Facts.
But before we get this joint rolling, send a little shout out to the sponsors. You see the scroll on the bottom of the screen. If you need any photo shoots, music videos, podcasts, consultations, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. And draft weekend was here in Vegas. It was pretty lit. I got the chance to go on Thursday. It was pretty dope. Although my team didn't have a draft pick, I still thought the whole experience was good. I didn't actually there was so many people that was trying to tell me like, "Oh, you crazy? The traffic about to be crazy," but it really wasn't that bad. Like the only thing that I did kind of notice is I felt like the lights cycling through each intersection took a little longer than they normally take. And I used to work in that area, so I know those lights don't take that long.
So it was like 2.5 minutes of light.
Right. It felt like 5 minutes of light, honestly.
Oh man.
But crazy trades before we get in the draft grades later on in the show. Crazy trades, AJ Brown, as well as Hollywood Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown. No relation there. Both traded on draft night. What are your thoughts on both trades?
So I'll start off with the more talented receiver. No, I'm not taking a dig at Hollywood, but AJ Brown. I'm going to be completely honest with you, man. I was actually surprised. I don't like you were shocked, but I was surprised. I didn't see it coming. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. At least I didn't think the Eagles were getting him. I just really didn't. I didn't really put too much thought into where exactly that he would go, but I know that he was an integral piece to that Tennessee Titans offense, even though it is a run-centric offense, but he was still able to produce. But receivers want their money, and I was also surprised because now he's in a position, Ralph, where he's going to Jalen Hurts, a quarterback who I wanted to succeed, but I know Philly fans, they're not really big on Jalen Hurts. I understand why, but I thought that overall, as part of that being part of their draft, I guess in a way, it was a nice pickup for them. He's someone who's a physical receiver, good hands, performs in the regular season, performs in the postseason. As we saw this past postseason, he was balling out against, I want to say it was the Bengals, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. It was between him on the offensive side of the ball, and then there was it Justin, whoever it was in the middle, their nose tackle was destroying Burrow. And then in Hollywood Brown, as a Ravens fan, that's a really big story actually, because of the relationship that he's had with Lamar Jackson since they drafted him. From what I know, Ralph, and I'm sure you might have seen the I Am Athlete podcast, after day one, Eric DeCosta, our GM, he did do a press conference, and he said that he never wanted to trade Hollywood Brown. A lot of people don't know that was actually his first pick as a GM since Ozzie moved over. But Hollywood Brown had came to him, I think it was middle of the season or something like that, a couple months after the season or so, pretty much requesting a trade. It had nothing to do with Lamar Jackson, but the system itself was not a fit for Hollywood Brown. And me, and you've been saying the same thing. We need to fire Greg Roman. It's hard to bring wide receivers here. And I'm actually happy for him to play with a Kyler Murray. My only cause to pause is obviously now we get the news that you said DeAndre Hopkins getting suspended for those 6 games. And now Hollywood's going to get what he wants. He's going to get all that elite coverage as the cornerback is going to be shaded right to him over the top because he's a speed receiver and he struggles against press man. So that's all I have to say about it. I really could go into it a little bit deeper, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. But the Ravens just need to make sure they replenish the receiver resources and get a veteran in there. They need a veteran receiver because they have unproven guys. So that's pretty much my takeaway from it.
I personally, I went into the actual grades. So
AJ
Brown, 24 years old, finishing up the last year on his rookie contract, gets the brand new contract. Not sure as far as the numbers. I know it's $100 million. Not sure how much is guaranteed, and I believe it's 4 years. I could be wrong, but Eagles trade AJ Brown. They give the Titans an 18th pick and the 101st pick. Then the Titans give them AJ Brown. With the 18th pick, they get Traylon Burke, who was pretty much we talked about him when we did the wide receiver show. We talked about it when we was at the draft. Two guys that was actually been on the show, Tarian and Trey. I hung out with them and watched the first round of the draft with them. And so the Titans took that 101st package to the Jets, and along with I think they had a 25th pick or something like that, and they were able to get 3 picks out of those 2 picks. So with the 35th pick, they got Roger McCreary, D-back out of a DB. I think he played for Auburn. And then they got an offensive tackle with the 69th pick, Nicholas Pettit Freer from Ohio State. And so I think when you start to think about that and you're able to get a Traylon Burke who and we've all did, like I just was mentioning, we all did our evaluations on him, and we pretty much got a younger AJ Brown.
Yeah, a top 5 receiver in the draft.
Exactly. So with a talent loaded at wide receiver in this draft, you're able to get AJ Brown. You're able to get more pieces. The only problem with that is, that I have with it is you still got Ryan Tannehill. So, like, regardless of what you got going here, it's all going to boil down to that quarterback, regardless of how good or how banged up, how healthy Derrick Henry can be, how good Traylon Burke can be, how good that defense can be. Mike Vrabel has done a really good job of having a winning season every year since he's been the coach there, but at the same time, them winning the Super Bowl is going to fall on the hands and that shoulder and the arm and mind of Ryan Tannehill. So then when we take that to the Eagles, I think the Eagles, the moment you got AJ Brown, I think they became the favorite to win the division. So I do think that some of the other things that we'll get into, I don't think we'll talk about it, so I can give a little insight on it. They traded up and got Jordan Davis, the anchor of that, the middle of that defense that won a championship. Workout warrior, you saw what happened at the combine with how that size and speed and strength.
They leaped us too now. One spot.
True. And so when it was talked about, you guys were going to draft him if you fell that far. Now, but I still think that you got the better player at that spot, and we'll talk about that later. But I do think that trade alone gives them. I think they win the trade because now at this point, you really get to see what you got with Hurts. We talk about it all the time, young black quarterbacks, having the talent that other quarterbacks don't get, or them not getting the talent that other quarterbacks will get. So now you got a Devontae Smith, you got Goddard, you got Miles Sanders, and now you got A.J. Brown. At this point, I can't really make any excuses for you. Either you're going to succeed or you're not. The rest of that. So I think they did a really good job of putting pieces around their young quarterback. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to the Cardinals, sometimes you got to be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
And so Hollywood, now you got to go out there and ball. Now, you might have thought going there that I'm like, all right, at least I got D-Hop on the other side. But now you're going to have to do what you do. Jalen Ramsey is going to be matched up with you. And you're going to have to go out there and win that matchup.
Every single time.
And so, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where, like, I didn't necessarily get it. Like, I understand. One of the things we were talking about at the draft when it happened was at least you get a wide receiver that's ready right now.
Yeah.
Coming off of his first 1,000-yard season, can he do it again, or is that a fluke? We'll see what happens there, but you get some familiarity with Kyler Murray. Them playing together in college. So I do think that it can work, but you already got more an aging AJ Green and in Hollywood and more. And I mean, and AJ Green is your biggest receiver.
Literally, and I mean, he had he had a solid season last year.
Right.
But I mean, do we expect him to duplicate that now with DeAndre Hopkins gone?
Right.
Nah, because remember their offense took a nosedive when DeAndre, I think, missed the final couple games.
I think he missed. I think they went 3-5.
Yeah,
playoff game.
Yeah, him being gone is a huge hit.
So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not really sure. I don't think that it makes them. The Rams are still the best team in that division.
Oh, I think by far, by far the best.
With D-Hop, I don't think that this gives them the edge. Kyler gonna have to take it to the next level because he can't have the excuse of with his talent.
Mm-hmm.
Although he is lacking in size at 5'8", I think they give him 5'10", but I see that man next to other people that's 6 foot. He looks significantly shorter.
Right. He got to stay healthy too, Raul.
Sure. But he's so little, man. You got 350 pounds. You got Jordan Davis fall on him. Bro's a wrap.
Yeah.
He's an collarbone's cracked.
Hey, I'm not saying he can't play quarterback because he definitely can play quarterback, but hey, I still think he's going to be in the major leagues. But anyway, that's just saying. Hey, he was a recruit, right? So, hey, or a top draft pick in the major league. I don't know, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he went the first round.
He was pretty high, yeah. So, I mean, he's blessed with that ability. Yeah.
And, so there's some drama cooking up in Utah.
Uh-oh. No one cares about the Jazz, as Jay Williams would say.
I mean, he's not lying.
We don't play them on 2K. We don't.
Not even a little bit. Not even when they had, like LeBron said, we were not playing with Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Max, no one cares about that pick and roll. We play with Nash and Stat.
So, but
CP and Blake.
Choice words about other teams. Detail on defense and specifically mentioning players that played the same position as his teammate and their attention to detail on defense over the last couple of years. So some of Donovan Mitchell's people, his inner circle, according to the sources, say that he had issues with it and they had issues with it, taking this as a slight toward him. Me and you have had this conversation about Rudy being overrated, but we also want people to know just because someone's overrated doesn't mean they're trash. That's not what that means. These two should not be correlated with each other. You can be a good player, but best defensive player in the league, that's where the overrated part comes in.
Right. So
whose side you taking?
Man, whose side am I taking, bro? Man, I want to be respectful because I'm glad you put me in the spot on that one, right? Because I feel like I don't really care about these two players. But anyway, I see, Mitchell really has potential. But if we're talking about defense, if we're strictly talking about defense, I'm going to take Rudy G. Here's why. Because he has, I feel like he's, and I was telling you I was watching the video. He is, as a defensive anchor, you are responsible for, I guess you could say, the mishaps or the miscommunications that the front line isn't giving you. But here's the thing. It's weird because I do feel Mitchell is at fault with his defense too. But the thing is, if Rudy is going to make a quote like that, you need to make sure you're calling everybody out. Because guys like Jordan Clarkson, who even when he was the Lakers, when I was a Laker fan, Jordan Clarkson was no all-world defender. He was a defensive liability. Bogdanovich isn't an all-world defender. You know what I'm saying? When Ingles was there, and you could look at all the players, Royce O'Neal is really the only other defensive-minded guy. Conley was, but Conley's long in the tooth. So I feel like if your frustration is, I'm tired of these rotations, I'm tired of these breakdowns, yeah. So I'm with him in the fact that I get it. But I'm not with him, too. I told the line where you can't single out one player. I get from much is given, much is required. But Donovan Mitchell was never he was never in the same sentences of the Kobe's, the Meta World pieces of people or two-way players, who could actually score and lock up. When have we seen Donovan Mitchell say, give me Luka or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, like we got Royce for that, and Luka will still cook Royce. So I guess Rudy, I think he probably players, they hear the chatter in the media, all players do. And I think as a defensive player of the year, I know me and you talked, previously, like the day before. I think with Rudy, I think his biggest issue is almost not his fault in the fact that his lack of athleticism compared to someone like a Bam Adebayo, right?
Right.
Bam is actually can guard 1 through 5. If Rudy gets cooked defending a Trae Young or someone like that, it's because he physically he lacks the capability to do that, right? But why is he out there on the switch? Because someone made it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think my last point with Rudy is, and where I do feel like he is overrated though, is people will single him out. He just can't call out, lapses in defensive rotations, and also not be cognizant that there are still players that want to get a switch on you and will take it to your chest. For example, last point, no one is willingly, outside of like a Kevin Durant, is going to be like, Brook Lopez. No, I don't want Brook Lopez. Give me Giannis and let me go at him. Give me Bam and let me go at him like a Terrence Mann and just dump. You feel me? Terrence Mann literally sought out Rudy Gobert in the playoffs because he felt he could dunk on him.
Right.
They're not doing that against Hakeem, against Ben, against. So I feel like both of those guys are. It's weird. I hate riding the fence, but I feel like both those guys are riding the fence. Are right because Donovan's like, bro, don't single me out. Like, I'm doing what I can do. And quite frankly, bro, how many points did you average during the series, Rudy? We can't even throw you the ball off on the offensive end. So I feel like there's a little bit of give and take here. Like, y'all need to sit down and hash stuff out, but we know that's not going to happen. So there you go, bro. I'm on the fence. I'm sorry. I'm on the fence about it. I feel like both of them have valid critiques or whatever, but they made it public. Go ahead.
I think that's one of those things where it might be, it's bigger than, the issue is bigger than them. And actually, when I was watching that clip, the clips you sent me, they were talking about the drop defense when he comes off when he switches on the screen, but he drops back into coverage.
Yeah.
Against this Mavs team, it actually works.
Yeah.
It's just there's certain games Max Kleber hits 8 threes. You're not expecting. If you lose that way, that's just like, that's one of those things where it's like, all right, Brunson is killing us. So I'm just going to drop back. If Kleber hits 8 threes, he hits 8 threes. It just so happened that he did it. So it's like, are you expecting Max Kleber to keep hitting all these threes every game when he doesn't that high a clip during the season?
Yeah.
So, like, I do think that there were certain things that, and there was even like good, even though Brunson was scoring in the lane, it's not like when you watch those clips, it's not Gobert's fault because he's keeping him in front of him. It's not like he's coming into his chest. He's just stopping and popping in the mid range, where once you come off that screen, you got to get back on him.
Right.
You can't let him seal you. And that's where the issue came when you're watching those clips. Now, those clips were specifically fighting for the argument that Gobert is not the one that made it. So now there's two sides to that coin. But I've watched Mitchell.
Yeah.
And I do think that when you start coming out and you say, oh, I should have got that Rookie of the Year. Now, cool. You came out, you said you made that statement. Now, we can sit here and say all these offensive things when it comes to Ben, but one thing nobody ever argues is him not being one of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah, I love his defense.
There's nobody that argues that. Now, we talk about Ben Simmons when it comes to going out on offense and his offensive talent, but you still got to have a certain mindset to go play defense and lock up.
Yeah. And
I do think that when you start thinking about that, regardless of how we look at it, that's the one thing that like when we start talking about the differences in eras, it's hard for me to respect this era when people keep using the term two-way player. You play you have to play offense and defense. I'm not calling you a two-way player. That's your job.
Right. They compare him to D Wade, and I told our homie, I was like, he's not D Wade. He has flashes of him, But D Wade was known for like you could speak on it. D Wade was blocking people with shot. He had like 2,000 blocks. I don't know what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he was stealing the ball, stripping people.
Him and Jordan are they're the only two guards to finish a season, multiple seasons with more than a block, with one whole block a game.
Facts.
And so it's like, come on, bro. Like,
I don't know.
I like Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, he's fun to watch too.
But like, I think how he views himself versus where he currently is, he's got to step it up. Because then you want to leave, but if you don't go play defense there, it ain't gonna matter.
Right.
Because at least now you have a safety blanket where you don't have that safety blanket. You go to New York, who's protecting the rim?
Nobody. Injury prone Mitchell Robinson.
Right. And I was Robinson is actually a decent rim protector, but he
is
35 games a year.
Yep. And he needs to go to if Mitchell, if he wants to not have any defensive liabilities, go to Miami. There you go. That's it. Go to Miami. Get rid of Tyler Hero and go to Miami.
For me, I'm actually gonna side with Gobert, although I do talk a lot of mess about him.
That's all good. We both. Yeah, I feel you, bro.
Only because I'm gonna hold Donovan Mitchell to a certain standard. Because if you have all that athletic ability to go play offense, then on the defensive side, that shows me you're not putting that effort into playing defense. Defense is 75% about effort.
Yeah.
And that's where my problem is. If you can go get 50 on any night, then I'm gonna need you when it matters, lock up. And I'm not even saying like stop the ball, but we talk about Steph. What did Steph do with 40 seconds left in the game and John Morant driving to the rim? He came up with a strip.
Yep. His defense has been vastly improved this season as well. Or last 2 seasons, he's played really good defense. So I commend him for that.
Exactly. And so that's the reason why I'm going to hold Donovan Mitchell to a certain standard, and I'm going to side with Gobert.
Rudy G.
Although I do think they need to just blow the whole team up.
No, yeah, they do. And they need to fire Quinn Snyder.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to hire Doc Rivers or something like that after the 76ers lose this series.
He did what he was supposed to do. He had his time. It's time to move on.
Right, All right. I love that one, man.
On to the next one. Playoffs. We've had some injuries. We've had some people come out of nowhere. We've had some people, like I never expected Jalen Brunson to have multiple games with, let alone 40. But
I told you, I was like, Brunson killed him, bro. You're like, no, man. I'm like telling you, no, I feel you.
And so but then we got Jordan Poole. There's Tyrese Maxey. We even talked about how well Horford played.
Yeah.
So leads me to the question: who is the most underrated player in the NBA playoffs?
Ralph, when I thought about this, this topic and everything, I was like, there's a lot of different underrated players, right? And so when we say most, I feel like we would be slighting certain people, but I figure it just gives us a time to just highlight some players that we just, genuinely, I feel like are underappreciated or not talked about as much. And I like to look at role players usually in this role. But someone that we've mentioned on our show, I know we're both a fan of him, but I truly believe Bobby Portis. I really like what Bobby Portis has really emerged into and become since his college days, right? And then obviously on the Bulls, and now he's on the Bucks. And the reason why I say Bobby Portis is because this dude is like quietly, bro, like averaging double-double in the playoffs, like in the round one. Obviously, I know there were certain things and injuries on both sides of the ball, but Bobby Portis is a guy who can score in the low post, 6'10", and also has that three ball, whether it's the top of the key, the corner of the key. He's hitting the three ball at a high percentage. He's great teammate, good on the defensive end, makes the hustle plays. And I thoroughly enjoy him. I talk about him a lot. He's actually my favorite role player. If he's not he's my favorite role player, regardless of what team he plays for. And another reason why I bring it up, because I was on the NBA Reddit before the series started. So the Bulls series is still in the balance. I think Game 3 had just passed, And I was on a betting thing, and someone said, the difference between sports bettors and people like me and you who watch the games and fans. Some sports bettors, not all, but you have a lot of sports bettors that bet based off trends. They don't really watch like the NBA. They just, do the bet stuff. And so he's like, "Oh yeah, the Celtics will take care of the Bucks." And I was like, take care of the Bucks, really? And so, I was like, all right, cool, interesting. He's like, take care of the Bucks. So he thought they were the Nets. And he's like, and I mentioned Bobby Portis and some of the role players and the height and them knocking down threes, if you're doubly honest. He's like, Bobby Portis is just another guy. I was like, oh, okay. And so I was like, you realize he averaged like 12 and 11 in the last series. And I was like, bro. So I was like, but some people, they don't know. And that's why I like how you mentioned the Jordan Pooles and some of these people and the Brunsons, is because you really have to watch teams over the course of the season and the playoffs to see like what are some of the guys. Like the Celtics have Grant Williams. Some people don't realize he's a good 3-point shooter and a good defender. But during the regular season, you might not really see too much of him. So for me, I like Bobby Portis. That's pretty much what he is, a guy that can get a nice corner three, low post, good teammate, says all the right things in the post-game press conference. So I'm going with Bad Bobby. I don't know what that static was with Zach LaVine, bro. LaVine better watch out, though. I'm like, I thought they were teammates. I was going to ask you about that. I thought they were teammates for like a year.
I think he left by then.
Okay, so you don't know Bobby. All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby was there when Jimmy was there.
Oh, you guys had some goons then back then.
Yeah.
I
think for me, man, I think the most underrated and one of my favorites, and I also think he's probably low key the most important to his team.
Draymond? No.
is Tyrese Maxey.
I'm not mad at it.
Because as we watch James Harden, if Tyrese Maxey can pick up the slack to where he plays like the second best player along with a Joel, that takes a lot of burden off of James Harden. So Tyrese Maxey, like right now, like during this season, he was averaging about 17 and a half points.
Yeah.
4.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds. So at this point, like in the playoffs, he's averaging 22, 4 and 4. Along with James Harden, who is around 16 to 10 assists to, I think it's like 5 or 6 rebounds or something like that. So, but we're expecting James Harden to get closer to 30.
Yeah.
So if you put that along with, now you got Joel.
There we go, yeah.
You got Tobias, Tyrese, and James, who can all, if you got 4 players that can go get you at least 20, and we know Joel on every night can go about 30, then that takes a lot of burden off of the other players to where what Tyrese has been able to do in those games where certain people didn't play, we've seen him go off for 30 in a game where there's no Joel or there's no James and things like that. So I do think that his talent level, he was someone that I was really hoping that they were able to keep Ben. If we can go back through our conversations about the Sixers, I always brought up Tyrese Maxey.
Yes, you did.
Him being the starting point and moving Ben off the ball. And so I do think that his evolution and his skill set, speed, getting to the rack, his ability to hit the pull-up jumper is crazy. I think another person that I don't think he gets enough credit is Jimmy Butler.
I could see that. I could definitely see that, because who else really does what he does on that particular team?
And so it's like when you start to think about like that team, I think that when it all comes down to it, although Jimmy, I wouldn't even put Jimmy in the top 10. I don't even. You could probably top 15, maybe argue, because on both sides.
Yeah.
But like with how good the rest of the team is, if you didn't have such a talent stacked team, as far as veteran leadership, shooting, mental toughness, physical toughness, and just good coaching, I think what he's able to do and what he's able to give you on a night in, night out basis it's like you don't need a LeBron AD if you have a deeper team. You need LeBron and AD if it's a huge drop off after that. But if there's Jimmy Butler here and then there's Bam here, Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo here, PJ Tucker here, and Tyler Hero here, it's like everybody is within a certain range of skill set. And then you just have this guy that when it all's said and done, he can go get us a bucket or get us a W or get us a stop. I think that right there is one of those things that I don't think he gets enough credit with what he's able to do for that team.
I agree.
And that they're not that far off. Like, is he the talent that Jason Tatum, Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, James Harden is? No. But also, if you look at their teams, it's those two, and then it's a big drop off after that. Where
no, I agree. I definitely agree.
In that same range.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I might have mentioned it to you. Probably maybe I said it in a show. But my pick was this is months ago. I made a post about it on my IG. The Miami Heat versus the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I've stuck with that chemistry, continuity, coaching, and I liked how I feel like they were on a collision course. And Jimmy Butler, he's an integral piece in that from a vocal standpoint and leadership as well. You got to look at tangibles. The thing is with the Heat is you need Jimmy Butler. Once you get to the top of the food chain to get to that next level, you do need him to play at the level he was in the bubble. You know what I'm saying? But he's still getting help from the Oladipos of the world, the Tyler Heroes of the world, and stuff like that. But if you take Jimmy Butler off of that, I feel like their system that they got going on, Spoelstra's system, it doesn't function as well, right? Because Lowry's out. Oladipo, he's a nice slasher, but you don't know what you're going to always get from him. He's injury prone. Hero, he's playing his role, but he's the sixth man. Duncan Robinson can be streaky. PJ Tucker, we already know what he is. And you're not looking for Bam for offense. Yes, he's added like a nice mid-range or a little jump shot, here or there. I think he had 24 in his last game. But, yeah, like you said, that literally – bolsters your point. It's like you take Jimmy Butler off. I feel like what he does, Ralph, is he instills an identity into that team. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like when he first got – because did he sign or did he get traded there to Miami? I always forget. He signed there. Remember they said when he first went to Miami that the culture fits him?
Right.
Jimmy Butler in Miami, like I don't see anyone else that has a perfect synergy with that city outside of obviously like a D Wade and Haslam and all them boys. So I like that one, man. I like that. I was trying to think if there's any other player that's underrated, man.
I don't think that. I think Jordan Poole is a really big key to what the Warriors have over there.
They're the only team that it's scary. I was gonna say real quick when I'm thinking about it, I think they might be the only team in the playoffs, bro, that literally has like a person who can get 30 off the bench.
Right.
That's scary.
Right.
Yeah. So I just thought about that. Like I'm thinking only player, So
I mean, because
you know what I'm saying? Like he does it with ease too.
Brunson was coming off the bench, but I don't think he comes off the bench anymore.
Nah, they do that small ball lineup with him and Luka and all them. Like him and Spencer and I think Spencer comes off the bench.
I think Spence comes off the bench, but he's not 30.
Yo, Spencer's in witness protection, bro. Man, he's getting exposed right now, bro. He was cool in the regular season, but I don't know what's going on this round.
Hey, he dunked on Gobert.
Yeah, that was a round ago. We in round 2.
Gobert, he got Gobert in the chest.
Bro, this dude would not shoot last night. I was like, bro, I'm like, his average about to drop way down now that Luka's back. I'm like, man. But anyway.
What we got next? Speaking of playoffs, we were talking about the playoffs. We got predictions.
Oh boy. How we gonna set it off, bro?
We're gonna start East. West, we got Heat. And we got Sixers. I think we're really I really don't see us disagreeing.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
But I'm kind of curious what we got here.
All right, so let's start off with that Heat and Sixers. The Sixers, this is where the 76ers parade ends. James Harden, man, like he needs to step up. I like what you said about Tyrese Maxey, but I look at this team. They were able to in the regular season cause James Harden didn't want to play that team in the regular season, and they caused Joel Embiid problems. Without Joel Embiid, obviously a person that we talked about being MVP and his dominance in the mid-range game, as also on defensive end, and being able to gravitate multiple defenders to him, that causes them to have to space the floor out for James Harden and the defense and guys hitting their shots. The problem is James Harden cannot do it alone on a consistent basis. And so Miami, I feel like they're just licking their chops. The way that they were able to win, the way that they've been able to get wins, Ralph, without Kyle Lowry in the lineup, with injuries to their team, I think this is going to be a short series. I do believe if Joel Embiid comes back, I think they said he could potentially be back by game 3, that they could possibly steal a game. But people have to remember, it's not just the eye issue, which can really affect his vision. He has a thumb, the ligament in the thumb, and so that affects you grasping not the football. We'll get to that later. The basketball, and what people are going to do, they're going to constantly try to swipe at his hand. And so that's going to cause some issues. But out of respect, I'm going to give them a game in that series. But I truly believe that this series will be over in 5 games. So that's what I got in the Heat and 76ers. And I'll swing it back to you on your thoughts on that particular series.
Man, I agree with you, man. The only thing is I might
give him another game, or
I might give him another game. I'd say Heat in 6. If they get a game before Joel comes back.
Yeah.
The one thing about the Heat is they do have Kyle Lowry out, but then they also do play down today. They should have swept the Hawks. There was no way the Hawks should have got a game out of them.
They played down to their competition, bro.
Exactly. And so they played down to so I do think it's possible for them to get a win.
Yeah.
The Sixers can get a win before Joel comes back. And then just the strength of Joel alone and what he's able to – if he's on, there's nothing Bam can do about that.
Mm.
So but they do play really good team defense. So that's why if they're not able to get one before Joel comes back, they're getting out of here in 5.
In quick work, yeah.
1.
Okay.
Out of here in 6.
Okay, I can definitely see that. And Doc Rivers, I think obviously him playing DeAndre Jordan is a detriment. And those shooters are gonna. It's just he can't hang with them shooters like that, man. You're stretching him too thin, and he's never played that many minutes the way Doc Rivers was using him. So in a while, excuse me. So,
like, bro, what you on, bro? This is not the same DJ from the Clippers.
Exactly. All right. So moving on to the next series. This is a series I know me and you both like because we have players obviously that we both like in that on both sides, both teams. And this is what I consider the team that will win this series, will represent the Eastern Conference, I believe, in the NBA playoffs. The Boston Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The Boston Celtics obviously had a home court advantage in this series. It got stolen after game 1. Giannis didn't shoot particularly well. I believe it was 9 for 25. He missed some easy layups, but what he was able to do was he was able to affect the game through his defense, through his rebounding, and his improved playmaking ability. And this is a series I've talked to a lot of people about. I've mentioned, obviously, the Bucks to you, but I talked to a lot of people in our basketball chat. And I said, it's funny because I saw a clip. Shannon literally word for word, it's like he echoed what I said. I was telling one of my homegirls, CB, about this. I said the issue I felt, Ralph, and I'm picking the Bucks to win this series was the height advantage, the rebounding, the physicality, and the defense. Each series, guys, represents a new set of challenges. The Nets had no chemistry, no continuity. They played no defense, right? And they had a coach that made no adjustments. Now you're going up against a team that has great chemistry, has been there and done that before, plays hellified defense, has rebounding, has length, and has a coach that does make adjustments. Yeah. So obviously with a 6'10 Bobby Portis, a 6'11 Giannis, and a 7-foot Brook Lopez, that size advantage is huge for them. If you play Giannis straight up, which I believe they're actually going to do tonight, which I wouldn't advise, he's going to kill you. If you double him, he's going to kick it out to guys like a Grayson Allen, who averages was averaging 17 points per game in the regular season without Chris Middleton. Now look what he's doing in the postseason. He's even better. Bobby Portis, who we talked about. Drew Holiday, though, as much credit as we give Giannis, and Giannis was great on the defensive playmaking, he actually set the tone, Ralph. If you remember last game, it was Drew Holiday that came out and hit 2 threes or 3 threes, and Giannis had that dumb foul when he ran. It was like the weirdest play. I'm sure you saw it. It's like something in his brain was like, go, and he's like, foul. Tatum like, bro, what are you doing? You picked up like 3 fouls. I was like, bro, he just had a brain fart. But I guess, that happens. But I actually believe that Tatum, they're going to try to do some things in the pick and roll tonight that's going to get Tatum off. I think Tatum's going to get off tonight. Jaylen Brown, he relies more on his athleticism. And I believe at the free throw line, you could see that hamstring that he got prior to the series was bothering him. So I think that he's hampered a little bit. But Al Horford, I actually thought that he did relatively well. I thought Robert Williams was a non-factor completely offensively. But I like the I like the chess match that's going to be had in this series. But I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't pick the Bucks to win game 1. I didn't pick the Bucks to win game 2. I actually thought they were going to come back from down 2 because from game 2 to game 3, there is a 3-day layoff, which is insane, until they go back to Milwaukee. So I figured that they're going to make their adjustments, come back, and literally like run these boys out the gym because I'm like, they don't really know what they're getting into. So for them to beat the Celtics in the fashion that they did was incredible to me, quite frankly, because Ime Udoka, Ralph, he's going to have to decide, do I press up on the shooters and let Giannis go for 40, or do I double Giannis or whatever? You know what I'm saying? And so guys like Javon Carter are also they have no point guard in Boston. They have no point guard to speak of. They're pressuring the ball 94 feet. People don't mention Javon Carter. You know what I'm saying? Don't mention Wes Matthews, who has 10 pounds of weight on Jason Tatum. Tatum's taller, but he can't 1-2 dribble. So I thought about this matchup and what Giannis said in the post game. He's like, I love the physicality. He's like, I'm sorry, but when I don't know about you guys, but I like to feel sore after the game. I was like, oh, they in trouble. It's like, bro, they in trouble, bro. And so I gave the Celtics respect last series, and I still think that they can actually get, because people said a 7-game series, I think it's going to be Bucks in 6. But if they do lose, if the Celtics lose tonight in Boston, I actually believe they're going to be in trouble because you don't want to go down 0-2 to the defending champs. But I think they're actually going to go 6 games. So that's all I got on that. I had a little more fire for that series, but I think it's the most fun series outside of the Grizzlies and the Warriors series, which I think will also be fun. All right.
I agree with you, man. Like, a part of me wants to give the Celtics, like when you go back and you watch the game and you go back and you look at the game.
Yeah.
Brown did not have excuse me.
Bless you.
Brown and Tatum did not have good shooting games.
Yeah.
I think Brown went 4 for 16. Tatum went 5 for 18.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that happens in back-to-back games.
Nah.
So I do think, like, there's a part of me that if the Celtics are going to get this one, like get a series, it got to be this one, like with no Middleton. And then me personally, I don't think Giannis can beat you by himself by making him a scorer and not a playmaker.
Yeah, yeah.
If I was them, I'm playing off of him when he's at the top of the key.
Make him shoot it.
And make him shoot or hug the shooters.
Yeah.
Because he's shown you that if you can get like a Grant Williams who can keep up as far as getting in front of him,
yeah,
then if you can make that 1-2 Euro, like if he's matched up with 4s and like legit 4s and 5s, that's barbecue chicken.
All right.
I.e. what just happened in the last one. But you got to be physically be able to take that, because my boy Pat he just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Boots wasn't fast enough. So then it's like, well, now you got the Celtics who have they got a bunch of people that's pretty much the same height from 2 all the way to 4.
Uh-huh.
And so I do think that
they was getting banged up in that game though.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's like, I don't know how much you want to play bully ball.
I'm not saying it's easy.
Like, was getting hurt. Like,
but I'm saying, like, go and get.
Yeah.
Let him score.
Just let him score. Just hope that the jumper doesn't go, which you take your percentage chances on it.
Yeah. Try to turn him into a shooter.
Right. That's fair.
Or if he's gonna be driving to the basket, hug the shooters. Like if you're just gonna have to make it and make your free throws.
Yeah.
Or make that layup.
Right.
And crash the boards. And so, me personally, there's a part of me that wants to say Celtics in 7.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Bucks in 6. And if they lose tonight, bro, they getting swept.
Yeah. I think they can. I'm not saying they can. I think they definitely can win tonight.
Yeah.
I do believe the adjustment would be he's gonna have to pick his poison. The problem is like with great players, I think eventually, okay, well, you do this in the next game, I'm gonna do that. And if he does beat you by himself, if he does, then it's like, oh, shoot. And so now you're going to have to constantly boom, boom, boom. And also you got to factor in Brook Lopez where they might do something with Giannis and then, I'm just going to dish it off to Lopez underneath. And I don't even have to jump. You know what I'm saying? Then Lopez goes off for like 18. So this series is going to be interesting. I think, like you said, like Tatum, I think Jalen can be streaky. Tatum is the one that Ime has to get more open looks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I know we got the sake of time, so we want to go to the next 2 real quick. And
so then off to the west, we at the top, we got
Suns.
And the Mavs.
Yeah.
Suns and Mavs 1-4 matchup.
Yeah, I got Suns in 5.
Yeah, it's
sorry, man.
It's not gonna be enough. Come out here scoring 45. And did you see the I want to say his name is McNamara?
Oh yeah. Whatever his last name was.
Him or something like that. He's asking Chris Paul like about Luka, and it's like, bro, we won.
Right.
Like, did we lose?
Right.
That part had me cracking up, bro. I was just like, yo, that's wild. That's funny. I was like, yo, CP, you're a real one.
Facts. Hey, and keep playing through Ayton. Because they don't have anyone to stop Ayton. And there's something I don't hate people. I don't hate anybody. But maybe we'll talk about it off air or something. There's something about Devin Booker, bro. Just me personally. I don't know how you feel. There's something about Devin Booker I don't like, bro. Something about him that just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. We'll talk about it off air. I'll figure it out. There's something about him I don't like. This is the first time I felt that about a player. It's like I feel like I can see. Yeah, it might be. You know how Cassie's like, I can see through you like Listerine or something. You see through blue. Like there's something about him where I feel like there's like this fake like arrogance or fake toughness about him, and it might be because of the report or the pickup game, and he was complaining about double team or whatever. But it's like when he talks trash to people and fans, it just comes off so fake to me.
I feel it.
I don't know. Like there's something about it.
I didn't like that pickup game where he was like, "Oh, we double team." Like, bro, we out here trying to win. What you talking about?
Right. And he had a horrible shooting night in the second quarter the second half because the first half he was cooking, and then like he just started chucking it up. I'm like, bro, just give Ayton the ball. But anyway,
right.
All right. But Memphis and Warriors, what you got?
That one's tough, bro.
Yeah.
Because what Draymond said after game 1, I do think that experience is what's gonna, because if you remember like if you look at the parallels between these two teams, there's a lot of parallels there. While also at the same time, like they built their teams through the draft. They were able to get Ja. They already had Dylan. Get a Jaren Jackson, you get a Desmond Bain, and now you got a young team that can go get at least they're a contender. Do I think they'll beat the Warriors or the Suns? I doubt it. I'd be really surprised if that happened.
Yeah, they have a chance, but they might have blown in game 1.
Right,
they might have blown in game 1.
Right, and so they were in that game. But the reason why the Warriors pull it out is that experience factor.
An experience, yeah. Without Draymond.
Without Draymond, right.
The most egregious foul. I mean, the most egregious ejection ever, bro. Like literally.
He smacked the hell out, bros.
Yeah.
Did you see the other clip? Like,
oh,
I was like, yeah, nah, get him out of here, bro. He out here. Like, I get it. It was an accident. But by the letter of the law, bro, he smacked bros and then grabbed him by his jersey and pulled him down.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
he was in that tunnel with them shades on, bro.
Yeah, menace to society, bro.
Man. But what you got? How many games you got it going, bro? How many games?
Warriors in 6.
Same. But as crazy as it sounds, that them stealing that game without Draymond and the way they did it, like if it goes shorter, it would be messed up to Memphis, but it might go shorter. But I have just off the Grizzlies being a great rebounding team, Ja Morant being able to slash into the basket. Looney can't do anything against him. Draymond can't do anything against him except hopefully take a charge in time. They lack size. Jaren Jackson got off. You know, they have the shooters and different things, and they can play defense. And they're a good team in transition. And if you have a lead on them, they're willing to stay in the game and come back. The thing is, like you said, the experience eventually will overcome them because they're not going to make the same mistakes as the Minnesota Timberwolves did. But I also know that this team is a tougher matchup for the Warriors than the Denver Nuggets. So that's why I give it, based off player personnel matchups and strength of team, I'm with you, Warriors in 6. But them stealing that game in Memphis might not have been expected for a lot of people. So if it goes shorter, I would not be surprised.
Right.
So it would be like, I think they're all going to be close games. All right.
I can see it going 5 because I do think that Memphis is going to win tonight.
Yeah, I do too. I just
got the feeling that Memphis is going to win tonight. So it can go 5, but I feel like it's going to go 6.
All right.
And I'm going to let you go first.
All right. Let me get through these. We're doing AFC North draft grades for the NFL draft. Yep, NFL draft. I'm going to roll with my Baltimore Ravens. A lot of pundits and media analysts themselves gave the Baltimore Ravens an A+ in the draft. I'm going to be stingy like Genuine, one of my favorite songs. Stingy. Anyway, and give them an A-. Ooh, a minus. They drafted Kyle Hamilton at pick 14. We talked about, Jordan Davis being mocked to them potentially, but they drafted the best pick available. They can do 2 high shell safety with Kyle Hamilton, a versatile athlete from Notre Dame who can play safety, can play linebacker. That's going to be great on that defense. They traded Hollywood Brown for pick 23, and they traded back pick 23 to get pick 25, and they drafted the best center prospect graded by Pro Football Focus himself in Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa. He worked out with former right guard Marshall Yanda of the Baltimore Ravens, who gave him high praise. So we got some protection for Lamar Jackson. Then quickly they got David Ajabo, who was a high school friends with Odafe Owe, our speed rusher on the edge, who also played under the Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald himself at Michigan, who was integral in his success. So they got him at a steal at a good value coming off that Achilles injury. So now their defense is going to be hellacious with a Marcus Peters, with a Marlon Humphrey, with a Marcus Williams, a long-rangey safety in that back end, Kyle Hamilton, and then a lot of speed, Ralph, on that edge with Ojabo and Owe, and then they got Travis Jones in the middle and another tight end. So offensively, they're going back to 2019, which I think you should not be doing a journey to the past. I'm not talking about Aaliyah song too off Anastasia. I'm talking in general, bro. I think this will allow Lamar to have an MVP season in the regular season, but in the playoffs, that 2019 offense we know ain't flying. And then quickly, the Bengals. I gave them a grade of a C. They got a underrated safety in Daxton Hill, top 5 safety prospect out of Michigan in round 1. Cam Taylor-Britt, cornerback in Nebraska, give them some cornerback depth. Zachary Taylor, DL, Cordell Volson, Tyson Anderson, safety. I gave them the C. And then the Browns, another C. I'm not hating. They got Martin Emerson in round 3. a cornerback. They need a cornerback, not the best cornerback. They did get edge help, one of the better edges in the draft, who's consistently improved his pass rush grade, had 51 pressures, and some of the most dominant reps of any prospect, real size and power. And they picked up a running back, Jerome Ford. So you want to make sure you keep that stable. I gave him a C. And then the Steelers, Kenny Pickett from Pitt. Dude has a slow release. Just a slow release, bro. George Pickens, I was mad they got him. They said he has some character concerns, but a big body, physical receiver, large catch radius. I like that pick for them. They got an edge. They got Calvin Austin, gadget receiver, explosive athlete, but he's 5'8", so I'm not really expecting too much. But Torrey Hall said that he's going to be amazing, so I trust Torrey Hall. So I gave them a C+, and that's the AFC North, bro. There we go. That's
and so for me, I gotta rate my boys, but I always go with my boys last because I can sit there and talk about them all day.
Okay.
But the Chiefs, after getting rid of Tyreek Hill, I think they did do a really good job, honestly, in the draft. Now, they didn't get anybody that I think is going to replace the production that Tyreek Hill was going to be able to do. But I do think that they got people that fit the system. Sky Moore at wide receiver, we talked about him. And I do think, like, he had good size. For me, looking at him, he kind of gives me that Debo type of vibe where he can be, you can put him anywhere in the offense. He has a good size. The build to be able to take that type of ground and pound. Trent Duffy.
Oh, yeah, they got Trent Duffy.
And we talked about that. The one thing that I was kind of excited about when it came to that, although as of right now, I think Waller, I mean, we got some. Actually, we do got decent size when it comes to my boys. Edwards, Adams, and Waller are all at least 6 foot and over. And so for Duffy to be, what is he, 5'8" to 5'10",
yeah, something like
that. Like, I think that size. I do think he's a really good pick, though.
He's a safe pick.
The one thing that I think is good that makes me kind of happy is the fact that he isn't the size of the other two corners who they could have possibly got. So with that, with those two picks, along with them getting Leo, I hope I'm saying it right, Leo Chanel.
Yeah, that was a steal.
Wisconsin, and that was somebody that you brought up.
Yeah.
I do that. Did a really good job, man. I'm gonna give them A- on this one. They're definitely winners in this draft. I'm gonna go with the Broncos next. They just really didn't. I do understand that for them, their win was getting Russell Wilson. So I'm not gonna go too hard on them, but they definitely got the worst grade out of all the teams. I'm trying to find. I'm waiting on my internet over here tripping right now, but I'm trying to find who they were able to draft. Because we talked about it off air, but I don't remember. I don't have the names off the top of my head. But I don't think they even had a pick till like the second, third round, end of the second or third round.
I'm trying to see if I can pull some up for you too.
I know they got an edge rusher, and then they got a tight end. Are the only two. And then I know they got I think they got an offensive lineman.
Oh, they got outside linebacker Nick Bonito from Oklahoma. The Broncos, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bonito's one of the top guys. Speed, he's like real speedy. Yeah. And then they got a tight end, Greg Dulacich from UCLA. And a corner. Go ahead.
So with them, man, I'm gonna get them. They get a C+. One of the websites I was looking at, I don't even remember. I just ended up scrapping the whole thing. Once I got to the Raiders and they had the Raiders at a C-, I was just like, yes, there's something going on here. The Broncos had a better draft than us. Like, come on, bro. Like, relax.
Hey, someone hates. Hey, someone lost some money in Vegas. That's what happened.
If you hate, you say you hate the Raiders. Like,
right, just say it, man. Say it with your chest.
And so the Chargers, I think the Chargers had a pretty good draft as well. I'll give them a B-. They were able to get Zion. Was it Zion Johnson? That is my name. Yeah, Zion Johnson, as well as what was my boy's name? I know he played for Georgia. I can't. His name is not popping up here. I know that they got a lineman out of from Georgia.
Georgia.
But I do think, like how I just said, they made a big trade to get Khalil Mack, and I think that that trade, when you're able to get, I think they gave up a second and a third for that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're able to get, you got your first round, you got last year you hit with the left tackle. Now you're building the inside of the offensive line. You're trying to protect Justin Herbert. And I think that the game is won in the trenches at the end of the day. And so then you were able to build some depth and give more options in that secondary to back up Adderley as well as James. I'm going to give them a B-. And then that leaves my boys. Raiders, baby. And so I think that the Raiders did a really good job. The one thing that I was kind of curious going into it, and then if you paid attention to Twitter or social media, there was talks of us trading Waller.
Yeah, which is wild to me still. I get it, but
right. And so it's like some of the moves that they were able to make. We then going, I think after day one, it came out that they did not take the options for the 5th-year options for certain players. Jacobs, Adams, and Cleveland Farrell did not get extensions offered as of right now. We'll see what happens with that. The thing that kind of worries me is I like Jacobs. He's just more injury prone. So, like, we drafted Zamir White, and I think we got him in the 4th or 5th round. I love that one because I do think that he has the talent to be an every down back. He just plays the running back position. And so I think that that's the reason why he slid so far. Then on top of that, we get Dylan Parham, Neil Farrell Jr., and Matthew Butler. The latter of the two are both defensive tackles. I seen Tar post monster when we got Butler. And so I do think that us getting in Adams, we solidified our offense. Now at this point, you just kind of got to build. You got to build out that offensive line. We already got Colton Miller. Hopefully, Leatherwood can take another step in the right direction. We moved him to guard when we were trying to play him at tackle. So hopefully that goes on to that. I think I seen that our first pick was we're going to play him at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see with that, man. With us, man, I'm not going to go too high, too low. I'm going to keep it at a B.
That's a solid draft and a solid grade for you guys, though.
Right.
I'm glad you just didn't get rid of Waller because I'm like, have as many weapons as possible, man.
Exactly. Sometimes you make a mistake by making a move when you don't need to.
Right. Get rid of a running back, not the tight end.
And so I was talking to Tar because I was like, hey, did you see the podcast when he was on it? And it was like, I don't think he's going to demand that big money because if you watch that, he really doesn't even see himself as that guy yet. Like this past season started seeing himself as that dude. And so I still think he has that humbleness plus the ability to play for a team that gave him an opportunity when nobody was.
Right.
I think that not that we deserve a hometown discount, but if you got the opportunity to play with a Devontae Adams, you got Derek Carr who took a discount. You got Renfro. We got to pay Renfro.
Yeah.
As well as a stable of running backs. Like, why would you want to mess that up for the sake of money when you can win?
And like you said, like you mentioned Devontae Adams, great players like to play with other great players. And he doesn't need Tom Brady at quarterback, whatever. You got Carr, but also think about what do you call it, Ralph? The openness or whatever he's going to have because Adams is going to take away a lot of that defensive attention. So his numbers will still be nice. They might even improve a little bit. So I would continue to stay there in a good situation because the grass isn't always greener on the other side, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that was fun, guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you follow all our socials, YouTube, Facebook, the He Say, She Say channel, all one word. The actual He Say, She Say podcast will be coming back soon. we're in talks. I found a studio. Me and Yvonne, who I started the podcast with, she's coming back. So we're
Nice.
just trying to find a schedule as far as that. We'll be recording twice a month, but posting longer versions as well as the shorter clips. But make sure you follow the Juke Sports Show at J.U.K. Sports Show on Instagram. Make sure you follow me and my socials: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram at KYNGRALPH.
And you can follow me on IG at the.house-of-hoops. Once again, IG at the.house-of-hoops for NBA news, coach, player interviews, the whole nine and highlights. All right.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.